Hello and welcome to Sports Today. Exactly 1 month left. History at the Aegis Bowl in Southampton. Can India do it? Maybe India can. And today, day of incredible political drama in Bengal. Will it be more drama in Southampton? Is what the focus is. From the morning, all of us are seeing unbelievable political drama going on in our city, in our state. This is not a political show, but what this tells me is, you know, sport is such a safe haven. Sport allows you to think positive, think about things that will make all of us believe that something good can happen. Can India do it in Southampton? Can history happen there? And it has one of the best dosa places in town. And today, I have tremendous pleasure before I get into the show, I have tremendous pleasure in saying that my colleague Ashish, who works for us on Sports Today, his mother was suffering from COVID. She was on ventilator, and she has gone home yesterday. So I'm delighted, absolutely delighted that that has happened. And that actually has brought a smile on my face. And as a result of that, Ashish very kindly has sent uh, Trisha and me cakes. So that is the celebratory cake that we are going to have today. Will India have a piece of cake in Southampton or at the Aegis Bowl? The question is that exactly 1 month down the line. In order to do that, and that is my area of focus today, do we have the bowling attack to do so? Today, I will give you a lot of very interesting detail. I will tell you how the plan was hatched to get Steve Smith out. I will tell you a lot more. I will tell you about Bharat and workload management. I will tell you about how the Indians planned what the bowlers were told in Australia by Bharat during that series. And this is what gives me hope that this bowling attack that we have now is actually a stellar attack. I will play three clips for you from Bharat Arun also. So let's get into what the Bharat Arun impact is all about. To set it up, like I keep telling you, there was a Kapil Dev, then there was a Srinath, then there was a Zahir Khan, then Irfan Munaf, all those Ashish Nehra, etc., who were very good for a few years, but never did we have a crop as good as this. And our perennial problem was some years or tuck at the top, losing pace, losing sting, going away. The second thing was injuries. To manage injuries has been a huge problem, and the only way you can possibly do that is if you have a crop. So, what about workload management? What is the theory? Bharat Arun, if you speak to Bharat Arun for a long time, you will understand that that man believes in biomechanics. The biomechanics of fast bowling. And he says something quite beautifully. He says fast bowling is against, think about it, fast bowling is against the very norms that a human body is trained to do. It goes against that, goes against the grain of biomechanics. That is why the kind of pressure a fast bowler keeps putting on his body results in more and more and more injuries, and it is a problem. It is a problem. That's why it is so very important to ensure that there's proper workload management. I've told you about the Ishant Sharma story and Bharat's principle. That Ishant used to believe in bowling more and more on the eve of a test match. And that's how he felt he will get into rhythm. Bharat came and started this phenomenon. By the way, they wanted to start at the NCA. But Bharat tells me that at the NCA at that point in time, to get everybody in the same page in the Indian cricketing ecosystem, the board, the NCA, the coach, the team, the national team, everybody on the same page. And this was during Sanjay Jagdale's tenure as secretary. Jagdale bought into the idea, but unfortunately, to get the whole ecosystem to work did happen. As a result, the plan had to be shelved by Bharat. When he became the bowling coach under Ravi, he had the opportunity to try out the plan within the Indian team because they had control. And that is when real workload management was started by the Indian think tank, because they knew that if you have to be a team which is capable of winning consistent matches overseas and to pick 20 wickets in every test, you need a crop. You don't need one Bumrah or one Shami. You have to have five, six, seven bowlers who can step in at any point in time and take control. That was the idea. Workload management emanated from that we have to ensure fitness, the emphasis on biomechanics, and to create a crop. That was the whole idea when they started this experiment as part of the Indian setup in 2017-18. This will, all of the detail we are documenting in the form of a book going forward, but for the sake of this show, suffice to say that it was very scientifically done and something again that Bharat Arun deeply believes in sports science. Trisha, can we have the first clip from Bharat where he actually talks about the principle of workload management? Then it will allow me to explain more. And then obviously I'm going to go into the bowlers that we have, their caliber, how they started planning for Australia, and a lot as part of this show. But the first clip on this particular show from Bharat Arun.
Workload management was these cricketers stayed with us throughout, and what Ravi Shastri at that point said that he didn't want to send anyone back. Actually, some of them were supposed to go back after the one day and the T20 series. He said, no, we cannot bring back anyone. And since they have stayed with us, in case it is necessary, they would be the best suited people to play in the, as Providence would have it. Every match somebody was getting injured and these guys had to step in. But I thought one good thing that came out of the entire Australian series was the self-belief. Now, it is not that a youngster is looking to cement his place. Here, any youngster who comes in, if you look at the debutants that have come in the last year, there are 10 debutants who have played for India in the last year. And all of them have come out with match-winning performances. So that speaks volume about how these cricketers, they are extremely confident about their abilities, and having stayed, like as Sunny was mentioning about Ravi Shastri gives tremendous confidence. If he believes that someone can deliver, I think he makes him feel on top of the world.
So there you heard a lot about workload management. And every time I've spoken to Bharat on issues of workload management, it has fascinated me. It has actually fascinated me that the kind of planning that it has gone behind, the way he operates. Every time a bowler goes to him, by the way, let's put this on record. Bharat has seen 3,000 plus videos of individual bowlers. 3,000 plus videos of individual bowlers across his coaching career. So that is the kind of depth and experience he brings to the table. And that's what gives this team that much depth. One time he told me that, look, when a bowler is at the top of his mark, and I will come to this more, because he gets them ready. So when a Washington Sundar was part of the training regime in Australia, and a Ravi Ashwin eventually couldn't play the Brisbane Test match, Washi was ready, because right through the series, Washi had been there, part of the dressing room, and had seen how the meetings happened, what was expected of him. He knew the exact plan, and they had built him up. And managed him that way. So Washi mentally also was ready. And Bharat keeps telling me that, look, when you actually this is I don't know how to explain this. I mean, and he says, when a bowler sees a video, now you tell the bowler that dramatically you change A, B, C, D, E, he will not be able to change, because that is his originality. All you need to do is just refine. And I was thinking to myself, think of Sachin's batting grip. If you tell Sachin to change his batting grip, will he be a Sachin Tendulkar? No. So if you tell a Jasprit Bumrah that you do not bowl like this with this action, will a Jasprit Bumrah be the same? No. But at the same time, and this is Bharat, and I love this part. I love this part. And he tells us that all of us handwrite, whatever we write, right? Our handwriting. So everybody who's watching this show, please write a sentence. Write whatever. I like love sports today. Now, none of us who write I love sports today will have written it exactly the same. Can we? No. All our handwriting is different. You will write it in your way, I will write in mine, Trisha his way, her way, Ashish his way. But the point is, all of us are writing the same thing and using the same alphabet and the same language. So Jasprit and Shami and Bhuvi and Shardul and Siraj and Ishant are all very different, but each using swing and seam to achieve the same objective of picking wickets. So it is very similar, yet very different. And that's where workload management assumes center stage and planning becomes so very important. That tells me that this Indian side, in terms of the scientific approach to the bowling unit, that's why you have the result that they have picked 20 wickets in almost every test match starting 2018. I find it absolutely magical, the kind of approach that they have now adopted as part of this team. Trisha, can we have the second clip, please, where he talks about the planning. There are two parts to this how the planning, the play what he said to the bowlers in Australia first, what he would tell the bowlers in Australia first, and then the final clip we will take about the backroom planning, which is so important now as we go for the WTC, because you've got to be specific against the New Zealand batting lineup. But first, take a look at to what they said to the bowlers in Australia, and that will give you a deep insight into the mental frame of the Indian bowling coach. Take a look.
So to convince the bowlers, I think you need a combination of the captain buying into it, also the statistics of what they have done, and also what the New Zealanders had done to Steve Smith. So when you did discuss with them and showed them all the evidences to say the outsider, they immediately wanted, at that point when we were beginning, we had our most experienced attack, Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami, and Umesh Yadav, with Siraj to fill in. And we were very confident that Siraj, whatever role you give him, he will do it the T. So at that point of time, the senior bowlers bought into the theory and they all executed it brilliantly in the Adelaide Test. I think at the first time, Australia on 3 consecutive occasions were dismissed for under 200 or under in their own home soil.
So there you go. I mean, it is astoundingly interesting. And let me also add to that what Bharat was talking about there. So if you think of the Brisbane Test match, you will see that Australia got off to a brilliant start in the second innings. And India at one point in time was struggling. Shardul was giving a lot of runs. So all Bharat told Shardul was that, look, just bowl the conventional outswing because there was a break. Bowl the conventional outswing that you have learned over the years and which is your strength. All you do is that. Don't try anything else. Because if you try that and you get hit, we will not say a word. So the idea is when a bowler has a bad day, they do three things. They sit the bowler down and ask him, what was the plan? Number one, what was the plan? Did he get, number two, did he get fields based on his plan? And number three, was the execution right? So plan, field, execution. Automatically the bowler understands where he has gone wrong and comes and improves the next day, because it will happen that you will concede runs, you will go for runs, the batting team will be better than you on a particular day. It will happen in any form of cricket. It is going to happen in any form of cricket. It will always happen in any form of cricket. So the point is, this is how you mentor your bowlers. And that's what the Indian team think tank did with them. So Bharat tells me that when a bowler is at the top of his mark, all he needs to think is, I will back my strength and bowl in that area. Now, suppose he bowls outside off, exactly where he wants the ball to land, and a Steve Smith cuts him for four. Fine. A Steve Smith or a Virat Kohli or a Kane Williamson have that ability to cut you for four, have that incredible ability to score runs of good balls. But all you need to ask yourself is, did you get it right? If you did, you are that much closer to creating history at the Ages Bowl. Because all you need to do is back yourself. So the Indian bowling unit is told this very simple thing. When they got Jasprit Bumrah in the side in 2018, everybody said to them that white ball bowler, awkward action, getting injured, etc. They did not flinch. And when Virat went and asked his South African counterparts, including AB de Villiers, the thing was Booms hurries up into the bat, and what a series he had. So they backed him, and then all they said was exactly what I said: at the top of your mark, think what you want to do and go execute. If after that, if your execution is perfect and yet you get hit by the batter, that is credit to the batter. That's where the Indian bowling unit, or rather the bowling coach, is crystal clear in his thought process. Now take a look at to what they did to plan. This is where Bharat Arun talks about the behind the scene planning for the Australia series for particular batsmen. And that is precisely what is going on now for the England series and for the one-off WTC final between a Bharat and a Ravi and the Indian team's think tank. Hear this because it's a fascinating bit, and then I will come and give you more as to what this whole backstage planning is all about that empowers the bowling unit and makes it that much more lethal. Take a look at the third clip.
Ravi Shastri called me in June, sometime in June, July. And we normally tend to discuss about how we need to go forward and what are the things that we need to do to improve. And then he told me, I want you to make a plan where you remove the offside for the Australians. So we had our own arguments even then, but he said, please do that. Whether you agree or disagree, I want you to make a plan where you take the offside out of the Australians. And whenever Ravi Shastri observes, he's a very, I think, he's got a very keen eye for observing things. Him having played the game, also been in commentary for so long, he picks up things pretty fast. And so I did my research. I called my analyst and did all the research. And then he gave me a very, very good analysis of the whole thing. We get the overall career statistics of what Steve Smith and Labuschagne had done. And most 70% of the runs they had scored on the offside. That was for drives and square off the wicket, and about 30-40%, 30% on the leg side. Even the leg side runs, we wanted to have the areas where they had scored those leg side runs. And so once we had all that, then it was easy to plan what Ravi Shastri wanted. So we need to pack the onside with men and bowl very straighter lines and remove the offside totally scoring. If at all Steve Smith, who averages 60 plus in test matches, if he has to get 100 against us, he has to play at least 200, minimum 200 balls to get that. Does he have that patience to do it? Because he loves his boundaries. And even the 100 he got on a good track in Sydney, he had to face nearly 210 balls to do that. So in a way, the journey started then, the planning started then. Virat, when we just spoke to Virat, immediately he liked the idea. He did this in Adelaide. And after that, Ajinkya was fabulous in his execution later on.
So the point is, you clearly have heard what the planning and how the planning, what kind of planning that went behind, sort of getting ready for Australia. Now, clearly, this is what makes this Indian team's think tank different. And with the kind of bowling attack we have and the variation we have, there's every reason to believe that we can create history at the Ages Bowl. We absolutely can do that. So a Bumrah, a Shami, an Ishant, a Siraj, a Shardul, and Umesh. You have every kind. You have pace, you have seam, you have swing, you have movement. You have bounce, the ability to get bounce. And when you now look at the variety in terms of spin, a Ravichandran Ashwin and a Ravindra Jadeja, you have every possible base covered. And that is the strength of this Indian side going into the WTC and the England series. In every test match starting with 2018, most test matches, almost all series, we have been able to pick 20 wickets consistently. That is the change. That's where this Indian team has become profoundly different compared to teams of the past. And now with the clips, you understand why this team is so much better, why the talent is so much better. Workload management, backroom planning, scientific planning, getting ready months in advance, working out details for every batsman. And that's where Bharat keeps talking about that a Steve Smith, and he kept telling me this, that let him bat for 400 balls and get 100. He's a top batter, he can. Let him bat for 400 balls and get his 100. We will not give him even one easy run. And that is why that leg side packed field for Steve Smith. And this was well backed up by sports science. That's where the philosophy, the planning, the deep planning comes in. And that's why this Indian team has become that much better over time in terms of the bowling unit. One final story before I conclude today's show, because I have to do a medical show soon after. In England, what you need is variety. And if you take a look at the kind of performances that Graham Swan has put in over the years, winning England test matches, Shane Warne, more recently also, you will know that a Ravi Ashwin and a Ravindra Jadeja have every reason to be potent. The one area where the Indian bowling unit has to get better compared to the 2018 series is polishing of the tail. You have to get wickets from 8, 9, 10, 11. And a Tim Southee or a Kylie Jamieson or a Neil Wagner are genuinely good lower down, as we have seen in the two test matches against New Zealand. Sam Curran was perhaps the pivotal player for England who took away the 2018 series from us. I am sure a Ravi Shastri and a Bharat Arun are already putting their thinking caps on how to mend that problem. Because if you are able to do that against an English team, Archer using the long handle. If you take a look at that side, Stuart Broad, even last week, I mean, in county cricket has had a very good outing. So the free runs that you give away to 8, 9, 10, 11 is what India needs to block going forward. If India is able to do that in the final of the WTC and in the 5-match test series against England, with this bowling attack, I have reason to believe that first, it will be history at the Aegis Bowl, and second, we will beat England in the test series. We will closely follow the team, and as I keep talking, we will decode. So I hope you're enjoying these specials on Sports Today. We will keep decoding the psyche, that go deeper into the mindset of Indian batters. Tomorrow, I will talk about Cheteshwar Pujara. Pujara will have a lot again to prove. He's been stellar, but the beginnings has been due for a while. The kind of resilience, grit, courage he showed in Australia was incredible. And in that chat with me, we will play clips about his mindset. We will once again depend on Pujji in England. So tomorrow, looking at the new wall, what makes Cheteshwar Pujara now special? Can he deliver for one final time for us in England? Then all boxes ticked. England, Australia will make it that much special for India. Love doing these things because this allows me to go deeper in sports today. And that is what sort of connects us as a serious sports content platform. I hope you're enjoying the shows. Thank you very much for watching and keep supporting us on Sports Today.